Let me ask you a question. Are you a leader? Is it your responsibility to lead other people? Now let me answer that for you. Yes, you are. Welcome back to another Branches devotional, and today we're going to be talking about bold leadership. So we saw in Nehemiah that Nehemiah was a bold leader. He stepped into that position to lead other people. But a lot of times we can think, if I don't have the position of a leader, if that's not part of my title, then I'm not actually a leader. But the fact is you are. There's someone out there that is looking to you to be a leader. If you're a parent, you have children, and you're leading them every single day. If you don't have children, then you have friends, neighbors, coworkers, other people in your life that are looking to you as an example. So you are a leader. So here's 5 H's to help us be better leaders and be bold in our leadership. Number one, and this is probably key and one of the greatest ways that defining characteristics, one of the greatest defining characteristics of any leader is humility. Be humble. You know, the Bible mentions all these different phrases to help us to be humble. It talks about preferring one another above ourselves, putting others first. Or it tells us not to think of ourselves more highly than we ought to think, not to be full of ourselves. In Philippians 2, it even says this. It says, let this mind be in you, which was also in Jesus Christ. So have the same mindset of Jesus. And what does it go on to say? It says, Jesus, who humbled himself and became a man. See, if Jesus, the King of the universe, was willing to humble himself in order to lead us, then we need to have that type of humility. Just putting others first, not thinking of ourselves more highly than we ought to think, and being humble before others. Having that same mindset of Jesus. Number two is honesty. Honesty. Having integrity as a leader is key to being a good and bold leader. You know, we got to not only be honest with the things that we say, but how we live our lives. My wife's father had this saying that he told her as she was growing up many times. And this is what it went like this. It said, have nothing to hide and nothing to prove. That's just living honesty, living with integrity. When you have nothing to hide, that means you're not living wrong. You're not doing things behind people's backs. You have nothing to hide, no secrets, because you have lived honestly. And people find out different things about your life. That's okay because you've lived with integrity. And you have nothing to prove, because at the end of the day, you're not trying to lie about who you are. You are who God created you to be, and the only person you're trying to please is God the Father. And so you're living as he has created you to be. You're not trying to lie or put on airs or try to prove anything else. You're just living for the Lord. So have integrity and live honestly as a leader. Number 3, have honor. Have honor. You know, when we think of soldiers, we think of them, and they use that word a lot, that you are an honorable soldier. You're living honorably. And why is that? Because good soldiers are selfless. They risk their own lives and to do things that are great, and even risk their own lives in death to serve other people. Sometimes people that they've never met before, and sometimes people that live in other countries. They willingly put themselves in harm's way to serve others. When you think about Jesus, this is how he lived his life as well. He says that the Son of Man, him talking of himself, I didn't come to be ministered to, but to minister and to give my life as a ransom for many. See, if we are going to be good leaders, we have to have that honor, that selfless honor. You know, the world doesn't look at that as a good attribute nowadays. Honorable people aren't mentioned as many times. Many times, if you're more selfish you are, the more you're living for yourself, that's who the world praises. But we need to live opposite of that. We don't need to be selfish. We need to be selfless and be honorable in all that we do. Number 4, be hortative. Hortative, if you don't know what that means, it means to be exhorting and uplifting and encouraging. So whether that's for the negative or for the positive. So sometimes you might see someone heading down the wrong path, and it's your job as a leader to go in and say, hey man, you're going down the wrong way. Let me point you in the right direction. And help people, encourage them out of that wrong path, encourage them into something better. Or if you see someone living right and doing good, you're to come alongside them and keep building them up. That's our job as leaders, is to build people up. Get them out of the path of wrong and turn them towards the path of righteousness and build them up, exhorting them and encouraging them. So being hortative. And finally, last, is be humorous. Be humorous. One thing that's awesome about Abraham Lincoln is he was president during probably the roughest time in American history. And yet, what do you see him doing a lot of times in either his talks or speeches or his sit-down conversations? You see him telling humorous stories, either to illustrate a point or just to kind of help the mood settle down a little bit. Can you think of all the tense situations and the anxiety that was going on? And he would tell a humorous story to lighten the mood. That's, as leaders, that's part of our job. It's just to be humorous. Maybe we're not naturally funny, but it's good to be lighthearted, right? The Bible says that a soft answer turns away wrath. If we can be soft in our words towards people and have these soft answers, then that can make people's anger calm down. Or the Bible even says, a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. So having people being cheerful in situations and being able to be a leader, that when people are the most hurt, the most angry, the most anxious, that we can step into that situation and bring joy and happiness and just put a smile on people's faces and just lighten the mood just a little bit. So if we're going to be bold leaders, and again, we're all leaders to someone out there is looking up to us and looking to us for leadership, then we need to do at least these 5 things, if not more. Make sure that you're humble, make sure that you're honest, make sure that you're honorable, that you're hortative and encouraging, and make sure that you're humorous as well. Be a bold leader and ultimately lead them to Christ. I love you guys, and I'll see you later days.